The New England Patriots pass on DeAndre Hopkins for this guy right here. DeVante Parker. Hopkins? No, they don't want Hopkins. They want DeVante Parker. If there is a team out there that is a magnet for a mediocre play, it is the New England Patriots. They had the opportunity, if they wanted to aggressively go get Lamar Jackson, approved by the owner, double stamped by the owner, for them to go get Lamar. Bill and the Patriots decide not to go aggressively after Lamar Jackson. Huge mistake. And Hopkins has been sitting out there. Patriot fans could have had Lamar and Hopkins. But instead, the Patriots, poor Patriot fans, I feel so bad for New England Patriot fans right now. I feel so bad. Instead of going after Hopkins, just keeping Mac Jones, not going after Lamar, just wanting mediocrity all over the field, they go ahead and they ink DeVante Parker. DeVante Parker to a 3-year, $33 million deal. And a running back can't get anything, but DeVante Parker can get a 3-year, $33 million deal. A player they said that they would release if they signed DeAndre Hopkins. If DeAndre, or a lot of sources said close to the situation, that if Hopkins was brought in, they would release DeVante Parker. Signing him obviously means they're going in the other direction, but signing him over Hopkins is madness. Absolute madness. New England just flushed their entire season down the drain.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
I feel so bad for New England Patriot fans because this is just one thing after another. The double tight end situation, so much talent out there to bring in. And Bill Belichick, we know he's a good coach. But this is insane. What he's been doing the last couple of years in terms of bringing in and corralling in talent is just pathetic. And it reminds me a lot of Shanahan in terms of making decisions about personnel and quarterback decisions, to not go after Lamar Jackson when the owner himself said, let's go ahead and, if he wants him, I'll do it. You want Lamar, bring him in. And Bill doesn't do it. Bill doesn't want to spend money, some say. Well, I just saw Bill spend $33 million on a 3-year deal to a wide receiver I barely remembered was in the league. I honestly barely remembered DeVante Parker was in the league. If someone called into the show today and said, hey, what do you think about DeVante Parker? I would have honestly said to you, this is from, I'm being serious here. This is from honesty, an honesty perspective here. I would have said, I don't even know where is he in New England still? Was he released? I don't even know if he's really even set to play in 2023. If he had been released, I don't know that he'd be signed. I don't know that DeVante Parker would even find a home. I mean, Hopkins and Dalvin Cook are searching the ends of the earth for a home. If he was released, and the New England Patriots, sources close to that situation said that if they ended up bringing in Hopkins, they would likely release DeVante Parker, signing him to a $33 million deal. And a lot of New England Patriot fans out there, and I feel bad for them. I really, really do. I'm not ripping on them. I feel bad. I feel bad for Patriot fans because they're trying to make the best of this. A lot of on Twitter, they're saying, oh, he's still going to sign. I saw a comment in here. They still can sign Hopkins. No, you're not signing Hopkins after you sign DeVante Parker to a 3-year, $33 million deal. The Patriots just flushed their entire season down the toilet. Not that it wasn't already going that direction. You pass on Lamar. You think Mac Jones is the real deal. Zappe's better than Mac Jones by a country mile. And you've got this 2 tight end situation you continue to gravitate toward. It's madness. This is madness. This is the biggest waste of a season you got right in front of you if you're a Patriots fan. This is worse than the Cardinals season. My Cardinals are having a cellar dweller season, but they're building for something, hopefully. This, I don't know where the light is. There's no light at the end of the tunnel here for a Patriot fan, because this is locking up a receiver for 3 years. And right here, just days after The Athletic suggested Parker could be a cap casualty if the team signed DeAndre Hopkins, the Patriots opted to extend Parker for 3 years. The 9-year veteran will receive $14 million in guaranteed money, which is a handsome reward for a receiver who hasn't gone for more than 793 yards on the last 3 seasons. Again, I didn't even know if he would play this year. I didn't know if he was going to be a player on the field. I really didn't. The Patriots were set to take a $6.5 million against the cap under Parker's previous deal. The new deal may lessen Parker's 23 cap hit. This is crazy. 33 mil. Now, what a Patriot fan's going to say is, oh yeah, they're essentially trying to, by extending him, free up a little bit of money, maybe this year. Maybe they bring in Hopkins. Maybe they do. I highly doubt it. This move doesn't smell like they're bringing in Hopkins. This move, to me, smells an awful lot like they've moved on and went in a different direction. I don't think you would worry about, what was it, 6.5 against the cap. This new deal lessens that amount. It lessens it by how much? That's not going to keep you away from DeAndre Hopkins. You know what keeps you away from DeAndre Hopkins? A 3-year, $33 million contract to a wide receiver that I didn't even know was going to play this year. This is insane. I feel so bad for Patriot fans. I do. This is just DeVante Parker. Imagine that being your number one wide receiver, your big play. Here's another piece of news. We talked about this yesterday. This goes back to why in the panic chamber we had last night Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, and Russell Wilson. And we didn't have Tim Patrick, Dulcich, DeVante, or Mims, because these guys have very low draft capital, DeVante included, if he's a 7th rounder, and Patrick even further. These guys have no risk. These guys are all going high. Jerry Jeudy's going in round 4. That's a ridiculous territory to be taking a wide receiver the team doesn't even believe in. Jerry Jeudy's in the panic chamber. No question about it. Go watch last night's episode. And this right here just confirms what we talked about last night, that the NFL Network is reporting that multiple people in the Broncos building believe Tim Patrick's the best football player in the team's wide receiver room. Suffered the ACL injury. He's been coming back. This is the guy to own if you're going to own any of the Denver Bronco wide receivers. You don't go after Jerry Jeudy in round 4. That's like setting your team on fire. That's like bringing in DeVante Parker as your number one wide receiver on a 3-year, $33 million deal. The equivalent to your fantasy team of what Bill Belichick just did, bringing in DeVante Parker on a 3-year, $33 million deal. The equivalent for you would be to go draft Jerry Jeudy in round 4 and give him a 4th round contract cost of entry. That would be equivalent. If you're making fun of Bill right now, don't be doing that. Don't be going and getting Jerry Jeudy at 4.1 and what? Praying and hoping that everything works out when you're hearing nothing but negativity coming out of Denver. We're going to trade him. Maybe we trade him. Sutton and Jeudy are on the trade block. The Broncos are listening to trade offers for Sutton and Jeudy. Constant. Are they going to get traded? They don't want these guys there. Mims is Sean Payton's guy. Sean Payton wanted to go after Mims. Tim Patrick, multiple reports everywhere. He's the best wide receiver in the wide receiver room. What in the hell are you doing? Any of you drafting Jerry Jeudy in round 4? Have I not taught you anything? Have I not taught you what it means to draft a Michael Pittman in the 2nd or 3rd round last year, or a Deontay Johnson in the 3rd round last year? These are disaster situations written all over them. And if I'm wrong, you're taking a safer player anyway. In this situation, even if I'm wrong, I'm not wrong. This is where I'm not wrong, even when I'm wrong, because Jerry Jeudy's risk level is nowhere near worth taking in round 4. You're going to take someone safer that's going to land anyway. And if for some reason the luck falls on the side of Jerry Jeudy or the owner that drafts him, guess what? They just break out even against what you did in the 4th round because you went safer. You go near Jerry Jeudy in round 4, I can't save you. I can't save your season. I don't want you to come to me and say, hey, Smitty, I didn't listen. I drafted Jerry Jeudy at 4.2. Can you help me get out of this mess? You know I'm going to help you. But goodness gracious, man, we're sending you on like 3 or 4 laps before you get any assistance if you're taking Jerry Jeudy in round 4. If any of you believe Jerry Jeudy is worth a round 4 draft pick, my phone lines are wide open. I would love to hear from you.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
So the Ravens didn't overpay for Odell. Look, Odell at least looks good out there. You know, can we admit that? Steven, I appreciate your super chat. As much as I don't want to go near Odell, Odell looks pretty decent as a wide receiver 4. You know what I mean? In fantasy, you're in best ball. He's still on the board. You've got 3 wide receivers. Odell's sitting there. You know he's going to get hurt, but he looks pretty good. Max with a $5 holler. Max to the moon. Appreciate it.
To the moon.
You. This is just insane. This is just insane. This feels so weird for DeVante Parker. You know, Barkley can't get 33 mil. Barkley can't get 33 mil. Saquon Barkley. You know, not that I'm a big Jacobs fan, but Jacobs can't get 33 mil. They can't get a 3-year, $33 million deal. How does DeVante Parker get 3 years, $33 million when I don't even know if he's in the league anymore? I truly didn't know if he was going to come back and play football. I had no clue. I just didn't. He's not a player. He's not someone I'm concerned about or I'm looking at all. How does DeVante Parker get 3 years, 33 mil, and Saquon Barkley can't get even a whiff of that? Chris, you're live.
That I'm still not understanding. Saquon Barkley is definitely good enough. He should have been paid. But I just wanted to speak real quick, Smitty, on the DeVante Parker thing.
Dude, bro.
So the way that I see it, because I'm a Patriots fan,
is
I believe this is a tweet from Bobby Thompson. It says the Patriots and wide receiver DeVante Parker extension created close to $4 million in cap space.
4.
To me, they made this deal with creating more room to offer DeAndre Hopkins more money and to keep Parker here for the foreseeable future.
We will see, you optimistic Patriots fan. It's cute, bro. It's real cute. And if you're right, I will come back in and say, you know what? They've got a dumb way of trying to go around and get DeAndre Hopkins. Let's spend more. Let's spend more money. No, but
the Cardinals.
Bro,
Cardinals
listen.
didn't do Hopkins any favors by releasing him this late in the process. Teams don't have money just laying around, so of course they're going to have to move some money around.
You can always move some money around. Spending $33 million in this situation, we'll look at the details of the contract too, because maybe it's more team friendly in year 3. I'll take a glance at it, but this isn't bringing Parker in on a $33 million deal. Just no matter which way you spin it to say, oh, this will bring in Hopkins. It's not. That's not. I don't buy that. That's the reason why they're going after Hopkins. And if they do, it's not something that I think was smartly done. I don't care if you're freeing up money now. You're committing to future money. You're giving this man a lot. It's not. You're locking yourself to this man for even a brief period of time. 3-year deal. It's a lot of money. That's a weird way to go after DeAndre Hopkins. I'll just tell you that right now. But I don't think Hopkins is going to New England. You what?
I could definitely agree with you on that. It's definitely a weird way. You're going out and giving a guy an extension. He's 30 years old.
Bro, I don't even. Parker was said to be a cap casualty, and instead you give him a $33 million on a 3-year deal. Now, Garrett right here wants to just take a straight lap. He doesn't want to take a little walk, a brisk little warm-up. Garrett wants to be sent on 3 laps in a row. Garrett, I'm sending you on 3 laps in a row. You even super chatted. I'm still sending you on 3 laps in a row. Jeudy in the 4th is better than Olave in the 2nd. That is probably one of the worst takes, Garrett, I've seen all year long. This coming from the biggest super chatter in a single live stream. And for that, he gets props. And I want everybody to drop Garrett's emoji. It's an eggplant and gorilla emoji 600. This man right here dropped a $600 super chat in a single live stream. So the man gets my thanks. I love Garrett to death. But Garrett's taking 3 laps in a row for this comment. That Judy's better in round 4 than Olave is in 2. Get to running, young man. Get to running.
That's a ridiculous statement, bro.
There's lap number 1. Here's lap number 3. Okay, we got Scared Scott and the Patrick on the line. The Patrick, hang tight. Mute yourself if you're not talking right now. Chris, you can stay on the line. Scared Scott, please don't tell me you're calling in A to say you like Jerry Jeudy in round 4, or B you think this is a great signing.
Round 4.
What? Scared Scott, you're breaking up. Call back, Scared Scott. You're breaking up. No one can hear you. The Patrick, you're live.
Yeah, I just wanted to weigh in on the DeVante Parker thing. I think this is a clear sign that they are out of the running for D-Hop, because now they brought in Juju this year. Now you're somehow putting stock into Parker, and they really like that Tyquan Thornton kid. So to bring D-Hop in, that just doesn't make sense now. I think being optimistic and everybody is hoping, the politically correct answer is they're loosening up some cap room, but there's no way. There's just no way.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Is it possible that we're out of the running of Hopkins and maybe we're going after Cook now?
Well, you're not out of the running of Hopkins unless you don't want to pay him, because Bill and Hopkins are like this, and Bill clearly can't even
Cook
get it
would probably
done.
want less money, wouldn't he?
Bro,
Cook would
but
want
you
less money than
just
Hopkins?
gave a lot of money to, and I'm not saying you didn't free up like the initial $4 million or whatever, but $4 million is not a big amount of money in the grand scheme of things. You could have figured it out without hampering and tying yourself to DeVante Parker. You could have figured something else out. But I like the Patrick said, you start filling up your wide receiver room with guys you cannot cut. You're not just going to bring in more guys, I don't think. You never know. But again, even if I'm wrong and they bring in Hopkins, which there's a small chance that they're doing something illogical, right? They're doing something we wouldn't do.
Yeah, they're
what
planning something out.
What kind of path is this to get Hopkins? But it would be a dumb path. And so would I come on here and do a live stream going, well, I was wrong. They're going after Hopkins, all right. But am I going to sit here and tuck my tail between my legs and say I was wrong the whole show? No, I'm going to say, yeah, I was wrong, but what a dumb move again. What another dumb move after dumb move. Now you're bringing in Hopkins when you apparently like this guy, DeVante Parker, who's, I think the last 3 years we read off, hasn't had over a 793-yard season. And I didn't even know if he was going to play in the NFL this year. And I do this for a living. I come out here and break news all day long. I know the NFL. I know everything going on in the news world. I go live whenever news breaks. And if you ask me today, if this news hadn't broke, if you asked me where is DeVante Parker playing football in 2023, I would have had to, for a second, search either my brain for about 5 to 6 minutes and try and retrieve anything that I had in my memory bank for his contract. And wait a minute, is he still there? He didn't get released. I didn't see anything about that all offseason long. I think he's still with New England. Or I think is he looking for an extension? Yeah, I think that he might be a cap casualty. I honestly wouldn't have been able to tell you if he was going to get cut and ever sign with the team in 2023. I wouldn't have known. And I think if he got cut, I don't know that a team would pick him up. This is why it's so ridiculous. Yeah. And I feel so bad for my New England people. Belichick yourself. I don't know if he's in here right now, but it's sad. Scared Scott, we couldn't hear you earlier. Please tell me you're not calling about Jerry Jeudy in round 4 and supporting that garbage. And please tell me you don't think this was a great signing by the New England Patriots, Scared Scott. You're taking laps for days.
I'm I'm from Louisville, and that's where DeVante Parker played. I don't understand that deal either. But,
Okay.
I guess as a number 3 receiver, he's good as long as they get Hopkins.
They're not
And the
getting
Judy
Hopkins.
thing, I don't know. He finished 22nd last year, 16th in standard, 22nd in PPR.
Who are we talking about?
Judy.
Okay, you transitioned right over to Judy.
He closed out the season, the last 5 games as a number 4 receiver. And so I don't know. People have always said he's been heralded ever since he came in. He's not my taste, but I couldn't bash somebody for it.
For a 4th round? Not on my watch. Not on my watch.
If
Jerry
Judy, 20 other receivers,
everything you
3 other receivers.
But hold on, everything you just described is the makings of somebody you take a flyer on when you get to a territory where there's a lot of other wide receivers like that. In the 4th round, bro. In the 5th round, I do not condone Jerry Judy in round 5, where you have London, Kenneth Walker sneaks into the top of round 5, Joe Burrow sneaks into the top of round 5, Pacheco goes in round 6. Like, there's so many other players. I would not condone Jerry Judy in round 5, let alone round 4. Round 4 is where a bunch of solid players are. Everything you talked about, he kind of finished strong. He's been missing his whole career. You got Russell Wilson crapping the bed. Like, you don't take a gamble like that in round 4, Scott.
I agree with you. I'm not a fan of them, but there's some numbers there that suggest it possibly could be okay.
Let's go over to let's go back over to Chris.
By round 4, you've already
no. There's a lot of time.
I haven't seen him go in round 4.
His ADP is in round 4. He's
going in the 5th round.
His ADP
in redrafts that I've seen, but
let me pull up his ADP.
And I think that's a much better place for him.
Maybe he dropped. Hold on. Let me pull up his ADP, Scott. I'm pretty sure he's in round 4.
Well, redrafts get drafted totally different than a best ball.
Well, in some cases, but the problem is you go into a redraft right now. What's the real reason it's not the same as best ball? Is it because best ball's format's different, or is it because the ADP is such garbage? No, hold on, Scott. The ADP is such garbage on these mock draft platforms that they're telling you to still draft Kamara in round 5 and round 4, and so people are doing it. And so Kamara's ADP. Not because best ball is different. Best ball is different, and you don't have to decide when to bench Kamara, and there's some advantages to having Kamara in best ball versus redraft. But the ADPs are all over the place. Olave on ESPN's going around 3-4, and people think that's where he belongs when you're in ESPN. Like, there's advantages drafting on ESPN and on Sleeper, and then moving your team over to whatever platform you want to go to after your draft. But the ADP data is not, you can't trust it. And people are, here's the other thing, Scott. People are not mock drafting like they used to. They're not. And I think everybody in here could probably admit that. We've done very little mock drafting, partly because the ADP data is so bad. Everywhere.
It's terrible.
And we're doing best balls instead of mocks. Why do a mock when you can do a real draft every single time? When you can turn your mock draft into an actual league every single time you do it for $4 on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Smitty, and the link is in the description of every video, and I'm dropping the link right now in the live chat. Why would you want a mock draft? So think about it. The diehard mock drafters are a lot of times not even mock drafting anymore. And so the data is horrible.
I agree.
The data is horrible.
I tried mock drafting through ESPN, and I'm looking at the rankings. Like, they've got Olave like at 35 overall. I tried to do it yesterday, preparing for my live redraft last night, and they had him like at 35. And you literally could get them in the 4th round.
Yeah, which is again, it's like, it's cool, when you're drafting over there. Here's the ADP data. So Jerry
But
Jeudy is 40.9.
not reality.
He is in the 4th round. He's 40.9. 40.9. Not 49. 40. He's 40. That's crazy, bro.
Who,
All right.
Judy?
Yeah, 40. He's 40
Is
overall.
Judy on Underdog?
Underdog,
Yeah.
40 overall. Hang tight real quickly. Let me answer the super chat.
There's
Hold on,
some
hold on.
numbers that suggest that it's not. I wouldn't do it, but
Stop defending it, Steven. Or Scott. Hold on. Steven says, New England just flushed their entire season down the drain. Couldn't have said it better myself. This is an absolutely inexcusable. Appreciate you, Steven. Coming in with the
I just read an
thunder.
article. Rappaport said it won't have an effect on going after.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. I'm sure some excited beat reporter that's got holding out hope. It will affect it. And if it doesn't affect it, and some are saying, oh, they freed up $4 million. That's why they're going after Hopkins. They freed up $4 million. Maybe they still do go after Hopkins. Maybe they do. But you know what I'm going to do? Come out here, say I'm wrong for 30 seconds, and then go on a tirade as to how ridiculous it is to sign this man to a 3-year, $33 million deal. Crowd up your wide receiver room. Spend that money the way that you're spending it. It's not like that's free. It's not like that has no effects on the future. And you got to ask yourself, do you refinance your house to save $5 a month when you're adding $15,000 onto the principal? Like it doesn't do anything to get you $4 million. Hopkins costs more than $4 million. Maybe Zeke Elliott costs you $4 million. Like maybe they're bringing in another running back, but I don't even know if that's the case. I know that's a rumor out there. Cook could be coming over. Maybe they're going after Cook now. This is a transition. This is all speculative. We don't know. People are saying they can still go after D-Hop. Maybe they can, but this is an odd move to make and not a move I would ever make if I was in the decision-making seat of this situation. Let's go over to, real quickly, hang tight. Let's go over to, we have Living Legend. You're live on the Fantasy Football Show.
Hey, Smitty, what's going on, man?
What's up?
Hey, man, I think I need you, brother.
What can I do for you?
They got this draft coming up. I don't know why they got it so early, but it's June 30th. And they got me picked. I'm picking at 1.04 and then, 2.11. It's a 14-team league.
1.4 to 11, okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so on and so on. So I didn't know which type of route you think I should go. Like if I'm 1-4 and if like Bijan's there, you think I should just go ahead and just take Bijan? And then if I do that, what do you think I should do as far as the second pick? It's only like a 1 QB,
redraft,
2 running back, and they got the 2 flex spots where you can use running back, wide receiver.
But it's redraft, right?
Yeah.
Bijan. So if both wide receivers are gone, and yeah, assuming it's not standard, it's at least 0.5 or PPR. I would go Chase or JJ. I'd take Chase myself, number 1 overall. Neither of those guys are likely going to be there at 4. McCaffrey probably goes 3. Eckler could go 3. Depends on who you're drafting with. But Bijan should be there. I highly doubt. There's a really very low percentage chance Bijan's not there. And honestly, bro, I would be comfortable with Bijan at 1. Like, I really would. I would take Chase or JJ first if it's 0.5 PPR or PPR. But I could argue Bijan at number 1 overall. So I draft him at 4, 5, 6 with a smile. I don't feel like I'm reaching. You take a guy, everybody in the first round, you're kind of drafting in a sense at their ceiling, in a way anyway. But Bijan has the capability of not only earning number 1 overall value, but really exceeding everybody else, and having like a 15 touchdown season or a 1,500 yards and 14, 15 touchdowns and pulling him through. He could have a 2,000 yard season as a rookie. I really, really believe that about Bijan. So I without hesitation draft him with the 4 overall pick. I don't take Tyreek Hill. I don't take Cooper Kupp. I kind of feel like those guys have a little bit of risk that I don't want. And then when you get into that 2-11 spot, my guess is, depending on the people you're drafting with, Olave, he's either there in round 3 or 4. He goes at 18 overall. Tough to know, but Olave should be there. I've seen Garrett Wilson go at 8. I've seen Garrett Wilson go at 18. It just really depends. You know, like obviously he would be the guy I would take first and foremost, but you know, St. Brown will be gone. You'll want to try and go balance, you know, wide receiver at that position. But if the wide receivers dry up and you don't want to force a running back and you already have Bijan and you're like, I want to go a different direction, bro, don't be scared to go like Jalen Hurts. I don't hate that. But what I love even more is if you get Joe Burrow in round 4, if you get Justin Fields in round 5. That to me is the best approach. So I hope you can find an Olave. I hope you can find a player that you love at wide receiver where you're not drafting a position, you're drafting a player, and you feel like all things are equal. I love this wide receiver as much as anybody. You take that wide receiver. Round 3, you know, I'm not even opposed to going Burrow 3, Gibbs 4, or with your draft selection, it's early 3rd. I mean, look, it's 14 teams, so your early 3rd pick is more like mid to, you know, almost late 3rd round. Gibbs in 3. Gibbs in 3, Burrow and Fields in 4. My ideal scenario for you is Bijan round 1, Olave round 2, Gibbs round 3 because it's a 14-man, and then Joe Burrow or Fields in round 4. That to me is you walk out with a balanced squad that can hang with anybody. And then all you got to do is land those other picks, and you're set, bro.
Oh yeah, that sounds good. And what you think about T. Law this year?
Love him. If you miss out on Burrow and Fields in that 4 or 5 territory, again 14 man, so round 4 is okay for Fields, you know, because by the time you get there, that's like round 5. T. Law, you know, I'd rather you get him at 5 because he's like a 6th rounder. But you can't go off of like what I'm saying or what even ADP is somewhere else. You got to also take into account strongly the recommended pre-rank list, because if that tells you that he's the 3rd best player on the board, T-Law, and you're sitting there at the bottom of 4, like he's probably going to go, you know, or if Gibbs is, you know, 15 players down and you draft in like, you know, I'm giving you a different example than yours, but let's say you have a pick that's like 8 picks apart and you got Gibbs like 15, 17 players down on the pre-rank. You can get away with Gibbs in the 4th round. But like, you just got to look at that and ask yourself, is reaching on Gibbs a little bit in 3 worth it to you? And it might not even be a reach, you know, given that it's a 14-teamer. So that would be ideal to me. You get Bijan and Gibbs. I know they're 2 rookie running backs. I love both of them. You get Olave, and then you get you could even get a Watson or a London or, you know, whatever wide receiver you want, and then get T. Law after that. That would be phenomenal as well. You know, if you get 5 guys,
yeah.
I mean, that's. But the 4 horsemen.
I was gonna try to see if I can get as many as your movement as I can, you know, based on the draft. I know a lot of them going to be gone.
You want the 4 horsemen, baby. The 4 horsemen's what you need.
Yeah.
All right, hang tight. You can stay on the line, hang up, whatever you want to do. Hang tight real quick. Yeah, if you want to come back, you can just speak up when you're ready. Let's go over to Scuba Steve. Scuba Steve, you're live, my guy.
Hey, Smitty, what's going on, my man?
What's up?
Nothing. I just wanted to chime in real quick about the DeVante Parker stuff. I think it's no more than them trying to save up space. I mean, I don't know how much of a difference it's going to be. But I also think, too, is that regardless of if we do offer Hopkins a contract, I feel like he's just trying to hold out and he's trying to wait for, like, a better situation, but whether it's between, like, Buffalo and, like, Kansas City. I just feel like that because I feel like he probably could have been signed already, but the fact that he wants to, like, wait till almost, like, the regular season, it seems like he just wants to take his time with it.
Yeah, maybe you know, you look at something like what Adam Schefter wrote. Adam Schefter wrote this. This is crazy. Or was it Rappaport? Yeah, Ian Rappaport said DeVante Parker was set to enter his last year as a Patriot and wanted to extend his contract to help bring a championship back to New England. Come on. What are we talking about here? I get it. They're freeing up about $4 million, but I'm telling you guys, That's not a move that brings in DeAndre Hopkins. You're freeing up $4 million. Like I said, in my example of you're going to refinance your house to save $5 a month and add $10,000 or $15,000 of principal on the, like you got to factor in all those different components.
Yeah.
Like this contract doesn't make sense to bringing in Hopkins. It does. If you could show me evidence that they were $4 million off and they needed to free it up, and then here's the deal, and then I would understand it. And I think it was ridiculous, but I'd understand it better. But I don't think this is the case at all. Overcome with the super chat said just counted. I have 36 slow 12-man drafts going on currently, and I have 43 completed. That's awesome, bro. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. You guys want to draft with us on Thursday night, Saturday night, Friday night, marathon, 3-day marathon every single week until the beginning of the season, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Just use that link that's in the description of every single video, and the link is right here. I just dropped it in the live chat. Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. They'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. But we'll be drafting, boys, on Thursday night, and we'll see where DeVante Parker goes. My guess is he doesn't get drafted, but maybe he will.
He definitely stinks. I feel like, too, maybe I think that the Patriots, the way that I'm looking at it, is that maybe that instead of going after the DeAndre Hopkins draft, maybe they're just going to go after, like, Dalvin Cook. I mean, I wouldn't have brought back DeVante Parker. I mean, but then again, I really don't know what Bill Belichick's doing, and this is coming from a guy that is like a Patriots fan, and I couldn't tell you like what exactly he's been doing.
It's terrible,
last
bro.
couple years
It's
with
terrible.
all these moves,
Yeah.
I have like no idea.
Yeah, I mean, so here's me coming with some unbiased, unfiltered, just pure, this is how I feel. This is my true feeling. The Cardinals are in a very similar situation. I did not want them to sign Kyler Murray. And everybody comes at me if I say something negative about a team, that fan base, I'll get a DM, or especially on Instagram or Twitter, you'll get comments that'll be like, well, how your Cardinals look, like it's going to hurt me or something. I care less. I'm not wearing a fandom hat right now. I'm wearing my analyst hat. I'm talking news, and I'll rip the Cardinals to shreds. That doesn't have that. Somebody saying, well, what about your Cardinals? That's somebody that you can tell has a slanted point of view toward their team. I can literally agree. The Cardinals shouldn't have given Kyler Murray his contract extension. I went on show after show saying he doesn't deserve it. We called him Juice Box Kyler on the show. And so I understand where Patriots fans are. I believe we have a little bit better of a future building because Kyler's still young and has potential. And we're trying to go after that Caleb Williams 1.1 pick in the NFL draft anyway. But hopefully. But my Cardinals are dumb enough that they if they got the 1.1, they trade down and they don't even take Caleb or Marvin Harrison Jr. or anything, and then they just put themselves in an even worse spot. But here's where the Patriots, and Belichick yourself just came on, and I'm going to have him jump on in a second. This is where the Patriots have, and Patriots fans or people that want to argue against me at all about DeVante Parker and the signing or whatever, this is where no one has an argument. The Patriots had the opportunity, and I think Belichick yourself would agree, they had an opportunity that was very easily in their grasp because no one else was competing for it, to go get Lamar, and Hopkins is literally sitting here still. Whoever that is with the background sound, please mute, and then I'll jump to you in a bit. It literally, Lamar Jackson was in your grasp. You could have gotten Lamar Jackson, and I guarantee you Hopkins' number one landing spot, given he already loves Bill Belichick, given that he'd want to play with Lamar Jackson, his number one place to go, even taking a discount to do it, would have been the New England Patriots. This was the easiest thing in the entire world to turn around this New England Patriot team. It was a cakewalk. You offer Lamar a contract that the Ravens weren't going to accept, or you work out a trade, you do something, and you bring him in, and Hopkins would have been right there with him. But no, instead you've got DeVante Parker, you still got Mac Jones, who I don't believe in, and if anybody else does, and Belichick yourself does, I understand it, but I don't believe in him. I think Zappe's better. I don't think Zappe's the answer, but I think he's better. I think Bill Belichick, I don't know what he's been doing the last few years.
I think
Mac just needs weapons, bro. Did you not see him at Alabama when he had DeVante Smith and all these other guys? He was breaking all kinds of records. We need to help him. We need to give him better players, bro. Better skill position players.
Well, you're not doing it. You're not doing it, Chris. You gave him DeVante Parker, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, man, anything to bring in Hopkins, bro.
I don't think that's a gateway to Hopkins. I don't think this is a gateway to Hopkins. You can't find $4 million in the couch cushions. Come on.
So let me say this, though, Smitty. Isn't there something to be said, though, about the Patriots and the Titans being the only teams that are, like, really, really interested in signing Hopkins? Isn't there something to be said, like, okay, well, since Hopkins went to visit Tennessee, what really have we heard about them freeing up cap space? Because they have even less cap space than we do. So at least we're out here trying to, even if it's $4 million, okay, we were interested in bringing back DeVante Parker either way.
The problem is, though, the way you guys have been building the last handful of years has been unorthodox and it makes no sense. And it doesn't prove to be correct. Like, hey, we're going to go double tight ends. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Because you were successful with it with Gronk and Hernandez. Like, you brought in 2 tight ends that did not fit the bill. Like, you had Jonnu Smith. You had 2 guys that were nowhere near Gronk and Hernandez. It was very fun to watch when you had Brady and those 2 tight ends. And you still had other weapons. You had an amazing defense. There's a lot of appeal about it. But to try and recreate it with Jonnu Smith and players like that, and now you go this direction, Juju, and I don't think the weapons are there. If you're correct that Mac Jones is hiding, he's a star in the making, which I 100,000% disagree with. But let's say I'm wrong. You're not. You're completely setting him up for failure. And maybe Hopkins.
But I mean, what kind of college player has had a college career that Mac Jones had, though?
Bro, a lot of them. Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football, one of the best college football players ever. Tim Tebow, amazing college quarterback. You can't just.
I mean, none of them won a natty.
But bro, I was sitting here watching Mac Jones play, and what you're telling me doesn't match with what he did in college. My eyeballs are telling me he's not it. He's not it. But that's me. I could be wrong. He could develop. I know you're very optimistic. You're a Patriots fan. I expect this from you. And I'm actually proud of you. You're standing by your team. But I'm telling you, from my perspective, and maybe my perspective will change, but I don't see any evidence that his transition to the NFL will be a similar type of pathway. And like sometimes you get to that next level and it just doesn't translate, bro. And with the quarterback's position specifically, it is even more the case that a lot of guys you don't see coming turn into guys that you didn't see coming. Tom Brady, Kurt Warner, Russell Wilson when he was good, and Pete Carroll was a big reason for that. So there's the quarterback position is a tricky one. You cannot just translate college over to the NFL level and expect to have it tell a very, very clear story. You had Jalen Hurts doubters for days, Josh Allen haters and doubters for days. You now have Fields doubters. And even I wasn't ultra high on Fields at all. I'm just being honest. I wasn't coming out of college because it translates different. And out of all the positions, quarterbacks are often my wheelhouse, bro. And I can even tell you that I'm not going to hit on all of them when I'm predicting them from college to the pros. But once I see them at the pro level, that's when you can really get a feel for what's really going to happen and what their potential is, like Justin Fields. Justin Fields' potential was so much greater once he got into the National Football League. Josh Allen, everyone doubted him. Jalen Hurts, everybody doubted him. I could see the talent from those two guys, and before they ever even did anything, I was calling them top, 5 quarterbacks potentially for the future, especially Josh Allen. Before Josh Allen threw a single pass, I said he was not 5, he was 1 to 5. In 2 years. It took him 3, but Josh Allen was definitely a guy that I saw coming. Fields was a guy I didn't see coming. Those are 2 examples of how crazy and volatile the quarterback position is coming out of college and into the pros. I could care less what he did at the pros. I really could.
So all I'm saying, Smitty, is like I'm not saying he's like a first ballot Hall of Famer or anything like that. All I'm saying is that the potential is definitely there to be good, given that you give him,
I don't agree.
very good skill position
I
players.
don't,
That's all I'm
agree.
saying.
Tim Tebow was what? Look, Johnny Manziel was twice the quarterback that Mac Jones was at the college level. Tim Tebow was a phenomenal college quarterback. That was pretty successful,
they
bro.
were good, but they didn't win anything.
What do you mean Tim
They were
Tebow
good,
didn't
but
win
they
anything?
didn't win anything.
Hold on. Let's go over to Belichick yourself.
Won in national championships. What do you
I
mean
know.
they didn't win?
I don't know how to argue with Chris at this point. Chris, I appreciate you, but what are you talking about?
I'm talking about Johnny Manziel.
Okay, but I said Tim Tebow, and you said they didn't win anything. You're lumping.
Oh, okay, that's my mistake. I'm not talking about Tebow. I'm talking about Manziel.
Yeah.
Yeah, Manziel didn't win anything.
Well, Manziel was arguably the best college football player to ever play.
Yeah, he was. He was
finalist.
I'll give it to you.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
well,
could try.
what do you think?
You could try to take away
What do
one
you think
accolade
about-
or something, but it doesn't fly with me, bro. He was literally one of the best football players to ever play college football, and it didn't translate.
Yeah, that's fair. But what I was saying, though, Smitty, is like what I was saying earlier. Like, what do you think about that, though? Like, I'm even hearing like I guess like reports coming out saying that the Browns and the Panthers are also like what was the quote, lurking or something like that?
Well, we heard that the Browns are no longer
Hopkins' agent just trying to make stuff up. Honestly.
Yeah, the market's not there. The market's not there, which is crazy. The crazy the market's there for DeVante Parker, but it's not there for DeAndre Hopkins. Let me go to Belichick yourself. Belichick yourself. Talk to me about your team, pal. I'm sorry. I know this is a hard live stream to watch. Thank you, Terry. Thank you, Terry.
I've never been so disgusted in my life, man. I've never been so disgusted in my life. I feel just like you feel. I didn't even know DeVante Parker. He's on my team. I didn't even think he was still on my team. He's been in the league for 9 years. We're giving him $33 million.
I didn't know either, bro. I do this for a living. What's my excuse?
I'm just absolutely just fed up, man. I didn't have this conversation with you 100 times. I swear I'm done with Belichick. I'm changing my name. I'm changing my name on my live stream. I don't even know. We need to Belichick ourselves. I don't understand what's going on. I don't get it. I really don't. Why can't we change with times? We can't go into 2023 with 2016 state of mind. It's unbelievable.
The problem is Belichick is still coaching like he has Brady, and he doesn't. We don't have anything to fall back on anymore, bro.
The problem is that the decision-making on the talent of the roster of my team is atrocious. That is the problem.
Yeah,
and if we can't get it together, I love Bill. I love every last one of those championships he gave me because I was alive to see it. But times has changed. Go out in glory. Don't go out in bust. Don't go out in dirt. You're burying yourself, man. I'm so disgusted, and I pray we still get D-Hop. So I'm like, Smitty, I don't see it. You don't go and give a nine-year receiver, 33 million? What is it?
Yeah.
33 million? For what? 3 years?
14.
Same deal we gave Juju.
14.
I'm trying to figure out what the knockoff.
I like Juju. I do like Juju. But DeVante Parker ain't no Juju. What is DeVante? You talking about what is people won? What is DeVante Parker won? What has he won? But I guess he won $33 million. I guess so, right? Unbelievable. I'm disgusted. Ron, I can't believe it, Ron. I'm disgusted. Pittsburgh looks better than us.
All right, hey, let's go.
Every team looks better than us.
Let's go to Ron real quick, and then we'll go back to Belichick yourself because I want him to get it off his chest. But go ahead, Ron.
Well, you made a good point. I mean, you can't relive Brady, and I guess we know the answer to the big long question: who made the Patriots, Brady or Belichick? And the way Belichick's going right now, it's looking like it was more Brady than Belichick.
It feels a little that way. I gotta admit,
it does.
I feel like Definitely, I think maybe he was the spark, and he was a needed spark for Brady. Like, I think Brady wouldn't have become who he became without Belichick, but I think when you separate the two after the fact, one can survive, the other can't as well. But, if he made better decisions,
Ever since Brady left, they have been going down, and it seems like Bill has a mindset where he's trying to recreate the Brady experience, but you can't do that. I mean, Brady was a generational phenomenon, right? I mean, he's like, there's been no quarterback like Brady. You can't recreate him. But what you can do as a coach is, make the best team that you can. But he's not doing that.
Yeah, he could have. He could have, though, Ron. He could have brought in Lamar.
He could have, but he's got a mindset. He's got a mindset, and
crazy.
A lot of times, I mean, look, who's coaching in Oakland? We don't look at that's his second run, right? He should have had success. He was Belichick's disciple, right? He screwed it up, and he screwed it up in Denver. Now he got a second chance with Oakland. He's screwing it up there.
Vegas, Ron, Vegas.
Well, Vegas, yeah, I know, but it takes a while to convert everything, So that's just a name. Oakland.
I mean,
but what I'm saying is, it's unfortunate because, all the fans put their faith in Belichick to, do the thing, but he's not doing what he needs to do.
Yeah, he literally he should have brought in Lamar, should have brought in Hopkins, and then maybe we would have seen this coach that has been without Brady, that isn't been unable to win without Brady. Maybe we would have seen him do it again. I honestly believe we could have. Like, I think Belichick in a box, he's got the talent there, could do it, but he is not a personnel guy, it appears, and that's where his crutch is. And when you have the owner literally go on, and maybe he was just saying this, and then closed doors he told, we're not going after Lamar, but in front of everyone on camera says, he's okay with going after Lamar. It's up to Bill. And Bill decides, no, maybe it's time to move on from Bill, at least in terms of personnel. Like, he can't make decisions at this point, at least on the offensive side, or at least in terms of like the wide receivers, the quarterback situation. Like, I mean, granted, he raised Brady up from a cub, but like at some point you got to acknowledge that maybe it's not that he got lucky, but maybe that was the only thing he could do when he had the exact talent in front of him, and it didn't have to be decided by him to bring the player in necessarily, or maybe he didn't even know what he had in Brady. Like, let's be honest, Brady at the Combine, we didn't know what we had. Nobody knew what Brady was going to do. Brady was not looking like the guy he turned into to be. And that was my point earlier to Chris. It's like the quarterback position is the one position where a lot of talent, you don't know where it is until it gets watered in the NFL like a plant. And sometimes a guy is watered so much in college, you think it's going to translate over. The plant comes over and dies with the NFL sun. That's not the same as the college football sun.
Bledsoe would have never got injured. We might not have ever known what Brady was.
Right. But let's go.
It took an injury for that to happen.
So we'll see. We'll see if Hopkins gets brought over again. There's a small chance that I'm wrong in my assessment, but my assessment is, I think, rooted in logic, and sometimes things aren't logical. So I admit that there's a small percentage chance the New England Patriots still go after Hopkins, and maybe we see a concrete report on that. But I highly doubt.
Yahoo reported about 20 minutes ago that deal with Parker had no effect on cap space.
Well, it reportedly freed up $4 million is what some people are saying, but yeah, maybe that got refuted and that no longer is the case. I don't know, but to me, it doesn't. You're still filling your wide receiver room with a $33 million receiver. I highly doubt the next step for you is to go bring in another wide receiver. Someone could argue, hey, they're just going to keep trying to surround Mac Jones with talent, and they're going to scoop up everybody they can. But this guy was already on the roster and said to be a cap casualty. If the plan of attack was to bring in Hopkins, he would probably be a cap casualty. And that might be wrong information. Like, someone might have had the wrong information. But I've heard that several times, and I believe it probably is close to the truth. If you bring in one player like that, you're probably going to move on from another player. You're not just going to keep crowding up the wide receiver room with Juju, and then you're going to bring in you're going to sign Parker to a $33 million deal. You're going to give Hopkins a $30 million deal. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And there is.
I got a thought on that, on the Parker thing. About week and a half ago, they were interviewing Parker. 2 weeks ago, right at the end of the mini camp, and they were interviewing him and asking him about Hopkins, and visibly got mad at the interview. So my guess is that there was a part where he was extremely upset, and they just ended it and keep him around, because frankly, Hopkins, Juju, DeVante Parker receiving core isn't all that terrible.
All right,
Scott. It can exist. But if the Patriots do not go and get DeAndre Hopkins, I've been a Patriots fan for 28 years. I will still be a fan to the day I die, but I hope we lose every game. I hope Miami and Buffalo and the Jets just run over us like a Mack truck on the highway. I hope they just beat us down to a pulp, force Bill's hand. Because if we get the best picks in the draft, he's got to take the talent or get him out of here. I'm done. I am done. I am the cake in the oven that's already rosy. I'm done. Get me out of the oven.
I'm mad about having Parker as your third receiver.
He's getting paid 30.
I'm not mad if I have him. If he is my third receiver, I don't want him as my
Scott.
He's darn sure don't want him as my one.
Scott, this is not the money of Scott, of a third wide receiver on a team. That's the whole point of this conversation, Scott. This is probably closing the door on Hopkins. You don't go spend $33 million on one receiver and then go drop another $30 million on another receiver.
Thank you.
It's closing one door, most likely. That's why the report said that if they brought in Hopkins, they likely release DeVante Parker. That was the thinking all along. So signing DeVante Parker sounds like okay, we're not getting Hopkins. Go ahead and execute plan B, which is just to give $33 million to a receiver that's never gotten over 793 yards in 3 seasons. Let's go ahead and do that.
That's T. Higgins money. That's That's the money T. Higgins deserves. You think DeVante Parker deserves that?
Well,
no way.
T. Higgins is
healthy.
The word is T. Higgins wants $1 billion. So
good luck.
I don't know.
How do we know?
T. Higgins,
I'd give it to him.
Around $25 billion a year.
Patriots. How do we know the Patriots didn't offer Hopkins an offer? And Hopkins turned it down.
It could have been.
And so that's what they did with the Parker. I think Hopkins will end up in KC. If not KC, then Tennessee. I think one of those two places is where he ends up.
We better hope he doesn't go to Tennessee.
Tennessee doesn't even have any money, though. They haven't even been freeing up cap space. They have even less money than we do.
Well, I mean, hold on. There might be a solution to this. The Titans depth chart. Hold on, let me go find a third or fourth wide receiver that they can extend. They could give Kyle Phillips a 3-year extension for $33 million and then bring in DeAndre Hopkins. That's what the Titans could do, because that seems to be the plan of attack.
Well, it affects the salary cap, and why wouldn't they be able to sign Hopkins? Now, it's possible that Hopkins has told them that he's coming there.
Scott,
if that's the case, my guess is KC is restructured. There was some rumors about KC restructuring one of the defensive players' contract to free up cap space to bring in. So
but Scott, again, even if this deal did in fact, and we still don't have all of the details on the contract. Even if, let's say, it's a very team-friendly deal, I highly doubt it's extremely, extremely team-friendly. There is some commitment here of a $33 million 3-year deal to DeVante Parker. Now, there could be so many incentives in this that it ends up being we're blowing a little bit of this out of proportion, but it is still the optics of a 3-year, $33 million deal off of the back of thinking that was very widespread that they would either release Parker or sign him. If they signed him, that meant they weren't going after Hopkins. If they released him, that was the plan of attack to counteract the one player in revolving door, one player out revolving door. To sign him to a 3-year, $33 million deal very much emphasizes that they are not going after Hopkins. Now, I could be wrong. It would be a very weird way around this to free up $4 measly million to get it done. But Scott, you're missing the point though.
Super Bowl?
What?
Could it not be a sign that they're all in trying to win the Super Bowl?
DeVante Parker? Scott, get out of here. Scott, come on. Bro.
Oh, my God.
They're going to – Scott, did you just say Super Bowl? Did you
That's
say
ridiculous.
Super Bowl?
I think if they had those three receivers with Stevenson in the backfield.
You have to be the most optimistic person I ever met in my life.
Player.
Scott, you got 2 strikes by the audience. 1 more strike.
Explain to me how, by all rankings on defense, the Patriots are somewhere in the top 7. You have a receiving core of Hopkins.
Could it be bringing in DeVante Parker means they're going after a ring?
I'm not saying
Come
that
on,
Parker's
Smitty. Don't do that, Smitty. Don't do that. Come on.
Stop it.
If we wanted to get better, we would have no offensive coordinator last season and won 8 games.
Yeah, they're all in, Steven. They're all in. They're pushing all their chips to the center of the table.
We would have gotten better from releasing
Parker would be one of the best third receiver in the league.
Stop, Steven. Stop, Steven. You're borderline gonna get. Look, if the audience puts too many X's in this is not me deciding it. The audience decides it. You can call back in 5 minutes, but the audience can kick you off the call if you say something that drives them nuts and you get so many X's on the screen here. So, Steven, you just said he could be the best wide receiver 3 in the league, and he's got Mac Jones. Hold on, he's got Mac Jones throwing him the football. No offense, Belichick yourself. I'm sorry, guys, Chris. That hasn't proved anything, and he also has not had over 793 yards in 3 straight seasons. This is arguably the best wide receiver 3 in the National Football League, Steven? Or Scott? What?
He's only had 1,000-yard season in his career.
Right. Thank you for that evidence.
But he's never played the third receiver on a team either.
Yeah, and he doesn't have a quarterback. How's that going to work out, Scott?
I think
got a
we're
quarterback. What's wrong with Mac Jones?
What's wrong? What's right with Mac Jones?
He completed 70% of his passes in college. That's translated to the pros. He's completing 66%. He's got a 1.5 to 1 TD to interception ratio since he's been here. He hasn't had a receiver to speak of,
and he still doesn't, Scott. And that's the problem, Scott.
I'm sorry. Who's your team? He had in a rookie class that included Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. He had the best rookie season. Took a dip last year, and that's what everybody's looking at. If he gets back on track. He threw for 3,800 yards, 22 touchdowns in his rookie season.
Finish him.
There is no reason to believe that he can't throw for 4,025 with this receiving core.
Oh,
he
my
threw 3,800 as a rookie. He threw 3,800 as a rookie.
Who is he throwing the ball to?
He threw 3,800.
DeVante Parker.
Who was he throwing the ball to as a rookie? With this report?
Call terminated.
You've got to be kidding.
Guys, but you know what? We're treating the Patriots as if they're like a top 3 in the draft pick, type of team like that. They're like a bottom 3 team, but this team has averaged at least 8 wins without Tom Brady.
So, I mean, I don't – it's ugly being middle in the pack, but they had no offensive coordinator last year. The first season was their first season without Tom Brady, and it was a rookie season, whatever. You know, like, we'll see what we got at the end of the third season here. It's not looking good, though. It's not looking good.
Here's the thing. Like I said, I've been a fan for 28 years. Things are not looking good at all. It's getting worse. Everybody around us is getting better by the minute.
We got an offensive coordinator this year. We won 8 games without an offensive coordinator. Like, shame the 8 teams that lost to us without a freaking. Like, I feel shameful for the teams who lost to the Patriots in that last year. Like, you lost to no offensive coordinator. That's very sad.
Yeah, so here let me wrap this up because I do want to move on to other topics. Scott, you're still in timeout for 3 more minutes. He's trying to call back. You got voted off, and you're in timeout for 3 more minutes. But Scott, please call back in 3 more minutes. Or you know what, we'll put you on hold, and you can just stay on mute for a second. So Scott, you can stay on mute in timeout for 3 more minutes while I finish this up and wrap this part up. And then I want to get on to a different topic. That we could keep arguing that Mac has potential. Mac could do this. Mac could do that. Mac has no weapons. The Patriots just put him in a position to again have no weapons. This signing doesn't give him a weapon. This guy was already on the roster, by the way. And no one knew it. Okay? No one knew. Belichick himself barely knew he was on the team. And this guy gets a 3-year, $33 million deal. And you got people. What was it? It was Rappaport. Let me read this real quick, just to give everybody a sense of what's going on here and how this is being said. I think it was Rappaport that said this. He said this right here. Ian Rappaport. A deal that includes $14 million in guarantees per game roster bonus. Parker finds a home in New England. He didn't even know that he was in New England. the way he worded that. Parker finds a home in New England. He was already in New England. Like no one even knows where this guy's been playing. He's that kind of out there. And maybe there's potential. There has been potential. But he's been in the league a long time. This is no spring chicken. And so he's not going to flourish all of a sudden. And so bottom line here is this. Is Bill Belichick good enough to win a Super Bowl with a Lamar, a Hopkins, and a talent pool like that with defensive-minded thinking? Yeah, I do think he probably is. But is he a good enough coach to put those pieces together anymore? Or was he ever? How did it happen? Who did it for him? Who was advising him? How did he run into Tom Brady? Did he get completely lucky? Was Tom Brady even a guy he thought could become the guy he did? Was it all luck? What was it? We don't really know. But what I do know right now is that New England is not one single step closer to solving the problem that will make them very bad and have Mac Jones bust. If Mac Jones is good and I'm wrong, they're not putting him in a position to prove that. And that's the whole point I'm making here. If they go get Hopkins still, I will admit I'm wrong. And I'll also say it's the weirdest workaround to getting Hopkins on the roster and the biggest waste of money on DeVante Parker, even if it freed up an initial 2023 amount of money of $3 or $4 million that some are saying gets freed up by this deal. I haven't seen the exact contract to know it's true. We have heard there's a couple reports refuting how much it actually did free up and what it actually did long term. We still have to look at the contract. I could be a little bit harsh on the contract if it's very team friendly and they've got all kinds of outs and it really just was an upfront amount of money with incentives that he can never reach or something like that. We'll look at the details. The contract may even be out. I've been live. I haven't been able to digest and look at the contract. But bottom line is, the Patriots are not heading in the right direction. The Patriots passed on Lamar Jackson when the owner himself said it was up to Bill. Bill said, I don't want him. I don't want him. Hopkins has been sitting out there. He loves Bill Belichick. He went in for a visit. If they wanted him, they could have signed him. And Hopkins' market is so dried up, Hopkins would take it if they offered him enough money.
$14 million.
He would take it if they offered him enough money. They haven't, obviously. Or he'd be there because his market is dry. He would run to them if they offered him the right deal. And maybe his expectation is too high. I'm not saying it is or isn't. I don't know. But what I'm saying is the Patriots are not on the right track. And that's why Belichick himself is so upset and distraught right now, is because it feels like they took a step backwards with this move, not a step even sideways or lateral. This is a backward step.
Absolutely backwards. It was absolutely a step backwards. And my whole thing is like, okay, I'm thinking about as far as the division, right? If Tua stays healthy, I know he has his concussion issues or whatever. If Tua stays healthy and they sign Dalvin Cook, I mean, how many games are we really gonna win in the division? 1, maybe 2, and our schedule is murdered, bro. We got the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, Cowboys, Saints, and Raiders.
I hope they run us into the ground. I hope they destroy us.
I mean, we probably deserve it.
That's coming from a
We
Patriots fan.
deserve it. We did it to ourselves. We deserve it. We deserve everything that's coming to us. And you know what? Pain is punishment, man, and we deserve to be punished. We need to see why we can't compete in our own division. That's a given. And we need to listen and learn from our mistakes. And if Bill can't give us a program, I don't care. Get him out of there.
I really hope.
Get him out of there.
Let's talk Hopkins now. Let's stay away from New England because we've already beat a dead horse on that. Let's talk Hopkins specifically and not New England, because at this point I don't think we can assume he's going to New England. And some people might hold out hope that he still does, and we'll talk about that if that buzz kicks into gear. I honestly hope that the Titans or the Browns are the landing spot. We got word over 24 hours ago that the Browns appear to be out. Some people say that might be a smokescreen. The Panthers aren't interested. They said that they have bigger fish to fry to try and protect their young quarterback and build that team up, and have no interest in an older player that won't be around in 2 years to even really do anything. So they're worried about building core pieces for the future. So if the Cleveland Browns, we assume, are out, even though they could come circling back around, the KC Chiefs don't feel like they're out, but I do believe that they believe so much in Tony that they don't want to necessarily stop the momentum of that situation happening. But we're also not there behind closed doors. Maybe Tony's missing meetings. He's kind of a head case, and he's an injury-prone guy. Maybe he gets banged up, and we don't know about that right now. There's a lot of stuff that could happen behind closed doors that could make this KC team say, you know what, let's go get Hopkins. I don't know if this is really going to work out. He's not taking it seriously. He didn't listen to us. He didn't do that. We don't know. It's total speculation. Tony could be a model citizen right now, too. But right now, I feel like KC's leaning in the direction of no, until we find out there are some of those things, if there are any, that are making them want to go back. Buffalo, dealing with Diggs' situation and drama, I believe has them maybe contemplating a Hopkins situation so that Diggs doesn't leave him hanging and pull some sort of Antonio Brown. And people can say that's crazy, but Diggs' behavior lately would worry me. If I was in charge of decision-making and you've got a player that's screaming and yelling at the quarterback, that's all pissed off about workload divide and everything, and you're walking into a season and you feel like it's volatile. He's probably not going to go anywhere. He's not going to sit on the bench. He's not going to take himself out of a game. He's not going to fake an injury, but you don't fully know that. And so if I'm a decision maker in Buffalo, this is the biggest no-brainer in the history of the offseason. There's no easier decision to make if you're a Buffalo Bill decision maker right now than to bring him in to safeguard against all of what I'm talking about. And not only give Josh Allen a level up against the KC offense and say we've got potentially the number one pass catching unit in the entire National Football League once Kincaid gets on the map, and you've got Kincaid, Hopkins, and Diggs. If Diggs does end up walking the straight and narrow path, it would be a move I would make. Even at the cost of pissing off Stephon Diggs, I would make this move. I don't know if Buffalo's thinking about it. You got to think they are. I'm kind of hoping, though, he doesn't go there because I want Kincaid to get wide receiver 2 volume. So my preference at this point is to go ruin Hopkins' value all by himself in Tennessee. I'd rather him go to Tennessee so he doesn't damage Tony in that situation. Or if he goes to KC, if he has to go somewhere, not Tennessee, I would want it to be KC because I would rather Mahomes get the bump. I would like to see that happen, actually. It'd be very interesting to watch Hopkins catch footballs from Mahomes. And Tony is the very least damaging component to a team that I have. And so this is selfish. This is me breaking it down selfishly. I'm not saying I'm predicting any of this. I'm saying, where do we want him to go? What could possibly be happening? But Tennessee, at least he would... And I know Ron thinks he'll do good there, and I respect that take too. I understand the take. I don't necessarily agree, but we're not going to agree on everything. I think Tennessee would at least not damage any of the other wide receivers in situations like Kincaid. But the one thing that will be beneficial if he landed in, let's say, Cincinnati or Philly or KC or Buffalo, is that quarterback gets a huge bump. So there's good and bad no matter what happens. If Hopkins goes to Tennessee, I believe he won't be as good. If he goes to Buffalo, Kincaid could be held back a little bit. If he goes to Buffalo, Josh Allen goes up. So there's a lot of pros and cons to where this guy lands. I want to go around the phone line. Keep it as short as you can. You can give like a sentence or two explanation or prediction. But I'm going to start with Scuba Steve. Where do you think Hopkins lands in 2023? And give me like a 1 or 2 sentence. Keep it short, Scuba. I tell you 10 seconds, you go 100,000 sentences. I appreciate you. Don't apologize. You are who you are. You're Scuba Steve. You can do anything, young man. But I want you to focus for a second and give me a short answer. Go Scuba.
Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, in 1, 2 sentences as to why. You just think, what, they don't believe in Tony? And it'd be okay if you said that. A lot of people believe that.
I just think that he's going to go to Kansas City just because they need some other receivers. And I think it would definitely be beneficial for them because their receiving room, minus Travis Kelce, you could say that it is a little injury prone. So getting DeAndre Hopkins, I feel like that could help out.
Okay, let's go to the Patrick.
Yeah, I got Cleveland, and it's just process of elimination. Cleveland freed up a whole bunch of cap room when they cut, on the first released Jadeveon Clowney and our safety, John Johnson. We're sitting with, I think, the 3rd or 4th most cap room. As far as Kansas City, it's just logistics. Patriots just eliminated themselves. Chiefs, and people don't realize how big that MVS contract is. You just put 2nd-round stock into Rashee Rice. I don't see Kansas City being a viable option.
Do you think this
and
Cleveland?
Everybody else, it's a cap thing.
Do you think this NBC Sports report that the Sports Illustrated is reporting that the Browns are unlikely to pursue free agent DeAndre Hopkins? Again, that's one person's opinion, so I want to preface that. But this has been floating around.
Yeah, but look how many times it's changed, though.
Yeah.
1 minute we was the odds-on favorite.
Agreed.
The next minute we don't want them. The next minute we do. It's saying so many. I think nobody really has a clue. Or the decision was made a month ago, and they're just letting people talk.
Garrett, thank you for the super chat again, by the way. I just saw this one. Tim Tebow did win a championship. Check yourself, says Garrett. Garrett was talking to Chris earlier. But Chris corrected himself and said he didn't hear me say Tim Tebow 3 times. Let's go to Chris on this topic. Chris, where is DeAndre Hopkins playing in a 1 to 2 sentence reaction as to where and why?
I feel like he's going to be going to Kansas City. Number 1, Patrick Mahomes, let's be real. Andy Reid. I feel like Travis Kelce is getting up there in age, and if he were to go down for any length of time, I feel like they would have a really hard time at it. And, that's just about it. Because, once Kelce goes down, what are you left with, Tony?
You've got Rashee Rice, you've got Sky Moore, you got Richie James, you've got Justin Ross. There are a lot of wide receivers on this KC roster, but they are all very questionable, by themselves. One, if you look at one just individually, they all have a lot of risk. Sky Moore is unproven. He's smaller, but I think he could deliver. I think, look, Patrick Mahomes is going to turn Sky Moore or Justin Ross or Richie James or Rashee Rice into a very good player. Maybe they're not a superstar Tyreek Hill type player, but you don't necessarily need that. If Kelce went down, they also have Fortson. They also have what's his name? The other tight end. Not Evans.
I forget the exact stat, but it was something like just like involving pass catchers in general that. On average, Kelce is scoring more than like the top flight receivers.
Yeah, but it's not crazy to think that injury is going to happen at some point. I think you kind of give Kelce the benefit of the doubt, and you just
absolutely.
you say to yourself, like, I'm going to go ahead and continue to ride this until it becomes blatantly obvious and there's a huge red flag coming into like a season. Right now there's no red flag, so it's kind of worth it to take the gamble. But yeah, I mean, he could go down and he could miss 4 games. This could be the year he misses 4 or 5 games. But I truly believe that Mahomes and the way the system is set up with Pacheco, with McKinnon, I mean, I really think they're the one team that doesn't necessarily need him, because they've got like McKinnon, Sky Moore, Justin Ross, like they're gonna spread it around. And the way Andy Reid play calls, it's like it doesn't matter. They called the wrong play during the Super Bowl at a play reversed, and Mahomes was running it one way, the entire offense was trying to run it the other way, and they still scored a touchdown on the Philadelphia Eagles. And you know, it's like a whole nother level. Noah Gray, sorry, thank you. Noah Gray is one. So I think let's go over to Ron Navy. I'm pretty sure I know your answer, but I don't know if it's changed, or you know, do you just want him to go to Tennessee, or do you think he will go to Tennessee, and why do you think he will, other than you want it?
Well, there's a possibility, but I was sitting here thinking the whole thing over again. And, you know, I kind of agree. I think Kansas City might be the best. But here's also what I'm thinking is the Jets might be sitting there thinking, okay, Belichick, you want to pass on him. We're going to scoop him up, and we're going to shove him right down your throat. And we're going to just dominate you and the division. We got Garrett Wilson, and we're going to have D-Hop, and we might even go ahead and sign Cook, because they want to play together and utilize Cook what we can, what's left of them. And we might just like totally take out you and the Bills and the Dolphins, and we're going to go to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, we talked about that the other day on the show too. I don't know if you were there for that one, but that why wouldn't the Jets bring in Hopkins? Why wouldn't they do it? It makes no sense not to.
Right?
It makes no sense for a lot of these teams not to, even for just a defensive measure. You know, even just to play defense.
What did New England do to the Jets in the draft? Remember that? They made a deal with the Steelers, so the Steelers were able to get their guy who the Jets wanted. And so you think the Jets don't want that? The Jets want payback.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure they want payback after what we've done to them all these years.
Yeah. So let's go over to Belichick yourself. Where is Hopkins going to be? I hope he's with you, pal, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen, man. That's my first thing. I hope he's with me. My second thing, I would like to see him in Cleveland, but I have a feeling, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I think he might go to Tennessee. And honestly, that really would kind of free up Derrick Henry a little bit for his last remaining year, I predict. And Trayvon Burks is not that bad. He could easily be a number 1, but push him to the number 2 spot. Tannehill maybe gets another hurrah at it, and I mean, Tennessee would be, once again, a contender in their division. So he could still have his number 1 quality of being a number 1 receiver. So I think maybe, I don't know, I hate to say it, but it could be Tennessee. I know Ron likes that.
I think Tennessee is definitely, they're going to think they can win. I don't think they will, but I don't believe in Tannehill at all. And I think Levis is going to be a bust at this point. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I changed my thinking on that too if I see him, you know, look good. But I truly believe that it would be, you know, they believe they can, you know, be a contender still. And I don't think that they will be. But so that could happen. I could see it happening because they think it, you know. So definitely in the cards. I don't know. Tennessee's not even like a team that's even been in the news recently. Let me go and see. There's no market. There's no market for Hopkins right now. Like we literally have to go when we go to the newswires and look for updates. It's all just negative stuff that this team's out, that team's out. It's crazy to me. Part of me wonders if there's something going on, and I don't think there is, but that we don't know about. You know, with like. You know, when the Cardinals had they had obviously inside information, or I wouldn't call it inside information. They had pertinent information that other people didn't have, that he was going to be suspended. And then they traded for Hollywood Brown, and we're like, what? And then the news broke that Hopkins would be suspended for a significant amount of games. And then you're like, the Cardinals they had a jump on it. Like, part of me wonders if we're going to find out something about Hopkins, like he's struggling with some injury, or there's some sort of PED thing that popped up again. I'm not saying that's the case, but it's like, it's weird. It's very, very irregular that a guy of this stature, this respect around the league, that I don't think has lost a step. He finished the season, he looked fun. He looked good. He looked back to normal. I don't understand why the Cleveland Browns, that's going to be my prediction. I think at the end of the day, I'm going to circle back and say, now that New England's out, in New England, I erased that board just earlier today before this broke. I shouldn't have, of the percentage chance. I mean, I can mock it up again. I think despite all the SI report, Sports Illustrated report, that said that the Browns are probably not going to be interested anymore, I think that they're the team that makes the most sense and probably would be the landing spot, because you've got so much tied up in Deshaun Watson succeeding. If you're Cleveland, you are so tied into Deshaun Watson's success. If he fails, you are the laughingstock of the league. The contract and the trade itself, the draft capital you gave up mixed with the contract, makes this a very delicate situation. And if they don't protect it and figure out ways to support Watson and get the very best out of Watson, then I think that this is where the franchise gets set back 10 years. So I think it makes sense to be like, how do we get this guy comfortable? How do we get this guy back to as close to his old form as we can? And giving him his old player that helped put him on the map when he was playing his best football, DeAndre Hopkins, is probably the best move that they could make. It doesn't make sense to not go after him.
But Cleveland's the last stuff in the league.
They're what?
Cleveland's always been the laughing stock of the league.
Yeah,
you're about to get past on.
But it doesn't change that they would want to, like I said, safeguard their bad decision with another decision that maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe they pay him a lot and Hopkins gets hurt and ends up being another bad move. I'm not saying it fixes anything. I'm not saying I like Cleveland. I like Watson a little more if he gets Hopkins, that's for sure. And I would have to reassess where I rank him. It doesn't mean he's climbing into my top 6 or anything. He's not passing T-Law or anything like that. If anybody's getting excited thinking Smitty might change his mind on Watson, I might raise him up quite a bit, but he's not getting into like the big boy table. But he certainly is a much safer player with Hopkins. But do I think the Browns win a Super Bowl because of it? No. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that they would be smart to try and set Watson up as best they can so that this investment they made and this trade they made and tying this entire franchise to Watson on this guaranteed money, if they don't do everything they can and put their best foot forward to support him and make him the player he could maybe become, they're going to be making a grave mistake. Sick Nasty said, could Hopkins' agent situation be the problem? It could be, but you think Hopkins would have nipped that in the bud already if it was a sticking point. But yeah, I mean, maybe we hear there's going to be something. I predict there's something that we don't really know that's kind of like in the way. So maybe that could be it. So definitely could be a situation where, I don't know. There's also, I don't know. There's a lot of, Hopkins doesn't seem to be a locker room problem, but again, I don't know. Maybe we find out something. It's just weird. It's weird. How does he go over to New England where Bill loves him and they don't, see eye to eye? Is the amount of money he's being offered so disrespectful that Hopkins it's not setting in that this is his market? Is he not accepting of his own market value? And is he causing the problem everywhere he goes? Might be. I mean, it could be as simple as that. And eventually he's going to have to come around and say, this is my market. This is my market. I'm going to have to accept it. But if anybody should overpay, it should be Cleveland. That's my opinion.
Smitty, I was just going to say, too, while you're talking about that, about how
I have
all in for him, I was just going to say, the way that you described that how Cleveland should do that for Deshaun Watson. I was just thinking that I think that the Cowboys should do that with Dak Prescott because they have all this money tied into him, and I mean they're pretty much stuck with him. They have like no way to get rid of him, and everybody in Dallas. I mean, after the season that they had, like in the playoffs, they just what was it, like a first round exit? I feel like they're a team that I know that they did get like Brandon Cooks and stuff, but I feel like that's like a team that should go after DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, Jerry Jones always likes those like flashy moves. To me, it's like as soon as like he's become like a free agent or like on the market, they've always said that they don't want him. I don't know why they don't want him.
I do think you're correct. I think that you could also apply that logic to every team that has a chance to win a Super Bowl. You could say, okay, Dak Prescott should get Hopkins. If you're smart, you'll bring him in to help support Dak, and you could say that totally makes sense. You could say that Russell Wilson, given as shaky as he is, you need to bring in somebody that can help, get him back to where he needs to be. You could say, but you could also say any team that needs to win a Super Bowl, that can win a Super Bowl, that's potentially capable of winning a Super Bowl, needs to bring in this guy to level up against the Kansas City Chiefs. So I agree with you, and I think there's other ways to even look at that and say that why are these teams not doing it? I think G Money and whoever said this on the phone line already kind of said this, and they're right. It's a good point. Is that it's a contract issue in some regards that he's too late to the game. Most teams don't have the cap space, and the Cardinals, I forget who said it on the phone line, the Cardinals didn't do him any favors by releasing him late, but that was also a standard practice, though, that if you're going to cut somebody after June 1, which, they did, that they can divide up the dead cap hit against 2 years versus taking it all up front, in year, 1 in 2023. So it's not that they did him dirty. That was a standard practice. That was a standard time of the year where you would cut a player. So it's true, though, that a lot of teams don't have the cap space for it, but, teams can move that cap space if they really, really wanted to. And I don't know. I just don't know.
Just to say before you go on to somebody else, you're right about that cap movement stuff because the Rams showed us that they can do it by making all those trades and bringing everybody in. Everybody said that they have not even that much cap, and they still find a way to make trades and bring in all these other guys to go load up and win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. All right, boys, I'm going to cycle you off. Has anybody not had a chance to speak on the Hopkins thing? I have a few people on the phone line, but I'm going to circle back to everybody. We got so many people on the phone line. Holy crap.
I haven't yet, Smitty.
Who's this?
Ninja.
Okay, what's up, man?
Yo, man. I think the Cowboys one was an interesting one there, but I would say the Ravens, they've been speculated for Hopkins before, like way earlier on in the offseason. I don't know if it's really tangible, but I feel like their wide receiver corps isn't finished yet. And that could, if they're going all in on Lamar and they're just going to continue to support Lamar, they've talked to D-Hop has said I feel like D-Hop wants to play with the top quarterback, and why not just bring in a crazy era for Lamar right here and take advantage of this window.
I mean, it wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. I think that probably, I don't know that they would want to spend that amount of money on another player, and Odell was kind of their big move. But I mean, it wouldn't be crazy. It's certainly an option. It's certainly something we have heard of. It's definitely like not ruled out. It's like on the table, but definitely doesn't feel like a lead candidate. But that could change in with the wind. So I agree. It's definitely something we should look at. Avi, you're live. Quick thoughts on this, and then I'm going to cycle everybody out the phone line. I appreciate everybody being here. Sorry, some of you have waited longer than others. But go ahead, Avi.
I don't really have a comment on the Hopkins thing. I just have like another quick question. So if I was picking in the 6th slot, and let's say Jefferson, Chase, CMC, Tyreek Hill, and we'll say Cooper Kupp for 6 is there, who would you take 7 overall? Because I just got that. Would you take?
Yeah, I mean,
would you take Kelsey?
Is Bijan there?
Or Eckler?
Is Bijan?
No,
there?
Bijan's gone.
Okay. I'd take Kelsey. I'd take Kelsey over Kupp and Tyreek Hill. And that's not normal. That's not normal for me. Or Garrett Wilson.
No.
Garrett Wilson. I'd take their no hesitation. I'd go Kelsey or Garrett Wilson. I'd probably divide it up if I had.
What about Barkley? You think Barkley's a little earlier?
Yeah, he's a 2nd rounder, man. You're I know you're excited about him, based on that comment. but you certainly got to be careful not to start drafting players because you believe they belong there when they don't necessarily belong there. But I think Garrett Wilson, you could get Garrett Wilson and Barkley together, And you might say Garrett Wilson doesn't belong there, Smitty, and I could understand that. I could get behind that, but I don't.
Barkley and Garrett Wilson is nice. I would love that.
You could easily get that. Yeah. Barkley falls a lot of the time. I mean, JT somebody I'm kind of fading a little bit more each day.
Yeah.
I'd be a little bit worried about how that offense is going to be. Not seeing him, fully back to normal, vulturing touchdown quarterback. I'm just a little bit, changing offense. I'm just a little bit skeptical of buying JT right now. And even if he fell, you could say that you could get Garrett Wilson and JT, but I almost rather have, double wide receiver.
You're taking like AJ Brown, Diggs, all those guys over JT this year.
Yeah. All right, Avi, appreciate you, man. I'm gonna drop you off and just keep cycling through everybody because I got to get going here. Appreciate you, Avi. Chris, final thoughts.
Yeah, bro. If he's not gonna go to the Patriots, he's gonna go to the Chiefs most likely. That's just my way of thinking right now.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right.
George from the Bay, you get a little bit more than 10 seconds, but I do got to run, so as quick as you can, pal. Appreciate you holding on the phone. We had like 16 people on the line.
Yeah, what up, Smitty?
What's up?
Yeah, I just wanted to call in on this D-Hop thing. I mean, for me personally, where I want to see him go is the Lions because I think he would thrive in that Lions offense. Now, am I buying this whole Dalvin Cook and him being a package deal thing? Not really.
No,
I mean,
that's not like. Let me just interrupt and say that was a question. Hey, would you? That was like asking a player who doesn't really even know what the news cycle looks like right now. They're just like, hey, what about Hopkins? Would you play with Hopkins? Oh yeah, I'd like to play with Hopkins. Like that, bro. They're having a tough enough time finding a home individually. There's no way there's any validity or any sort of like momentum on that at all. Like that's just a laughable like news report. So go ahead.
Right. And, with what the money that D-Hop's wanting, right, it's wide receiver one numbers, right? So he's going to have to go to an offense where he's going to get fed the ball. He's going to be the guy. And I know Amon-Ra is the guy in Detroit, but I really think that if D-Hop landed in Detroit, he would be that number one, and that would also help Amon-Ra, right? So that's where I would personally want to see him go. Now, the other question that comes up into my mind is, why are these teams so gun-shy on signing him? Is this another Julio Jones thing, where he goes to a team and he just shits the bed?
Hold on. Did you just say Hopkins goes to Detroit? And you said it like nonchalantly, like there's nothing. You're like, he's the number one in Detroit. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown's a top 5, 6, 7 wide receiver, bro. He's better than DeAndre. No, but he's better than DeAndre Hopkins right now. He's better than DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins is at the end of his career.
I agree with that 100%.
But you just said that Hopkins would be the one.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that he would go and he would demand so many targets.
Okay, you're saying in that coverage? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know about that, but you sure about that? I don't know.
That's just my opinion. Based on that offense likes to throw the ball 50 times a game. You know what I mean? You can give 12 targets a game to D-Hop and 12 targets to Amon-Ra.
I guess I would say this, that would it shock me if the Detroit Lions said, without Jameson, we're ready to win, let's do it. Like, it wouldn't shock me, but we haven't heard anything about that, and I don't know that the Lions, I don't think they necessarily need it. It wouldn't hurt, but it also, isn't something that, if they could spend their money elsewhere or do something else that, help improve other things they got going on. They got plenty of wide receivers.
Yeah, for sure. That's just my wish list. I would love for him to go to Detroit because that offense would just be crazy.
Yeah. And when I say that plenty of wide receivers, I mean they have plenty of pass catchers in Gibbs and Laporta and Jameson when he comes back. Like, they're going to be fine. Laporta and Gibbs will take an overload of work until Jameson comes back, but I hear you. I mean, it's a good theory, and it's interesting. It's just when you said number one, I was like, wait a minute. We just did a whole St. Brown video that I need to point you toward. But you know, maybe defenses do. I mean, look, Hopkins has been double teamed his entire career. So if your stance is that you just think defenses would perceive him a certain way and then make Amon-Ra get opened up, I get that. But I kind of feel like the offense is dynamic enough with Monty up the gut, Gibbs lining up as a wide receiver in the slot as a running back in motion, Laporta getting rushed along as a rookie and doing really well, and St. Brown stretching the field. That, you know, I think St. Brown could probably, I'd almost rather, your thinking I think hurts him. And I don't think I can prove that yet. And I think you've got a case to make. I don't think you're crazy for thinking you're the way you are. But I'd rather have St. Brown just be the number one in a dynamic offense that I think he'll have plenty of ability to get open. And if you put Hopkins it takes timeshare away.
If D-Hop went to the Lions, that elevates that offense even more, and it also helps St. Brown.
I don't know. I don't think it helps St. Brown though, because of what I'm just saying. That like you want him getting number one target share, bro. You got to understand that St. Brown can't really be contained anyway. His style of play, the NFL today, moving him all over the field. You know, that's why you can never double team. You know, Cooper Kupp to a degree. You just move someone all over, put him in the slot, move them all around. And I think Gibbs is going to make it impossible for defenses to just double him. And so St. Brown's going to get open. I think what you're saying, it makes sense on its face, but when you really think about it, you're taking away. Goff's not going to throw the same amount. He's going to do really well, and they're going to throw a lot, but he's not going to. They're a run-heavy team. They are a run team. They love to run the ball. They're going to throw not enough to be able to feed Hopkins, Jameson, and St. Brown once Jameson comes back. And I don't think you want this for St. Brown. St. Brown's getting 10 to 12 targets per game, bro. That is plenty. You don't need anything else. He'll catch He'll catch 8 to 9 receptions on 10 to 12 targets per game, and you don't need any solution to come up with getting him in a better position than that. You know what I mean? So I hear what you're saying. You could argue it for sure, but I just think it would be a disaster at the end of the day once Jameson came back, and you don't want that. But I appreciate you, Chris. Yeah. Was that Chris?
All right,
wait, who is this? Who am I talking to right now?
It's George from the Bay.
Oh, George. I'm sorry, George. I thought you were Chris. Hey, George, good luck with Brock Purdy. I hope he starts week 1 for you. Hopefully you don't have a disaster walking into week 1 against Ron Navy Steelers, who are going to be coming for whoever's lining.
Oh, just remember, I'm still rooting for Lance because we got that bet. He's got to play 8 games. He's got to start 8 games.
What was our bet? Because he's not playing 1 game.
Over under was 8 for starts for Trey Lance.
What was the challenge? What was the bet?
I buy a year membership.
Oh yeah,
you
might as well buy it now.
You
might as well buy it now. I'll give you. You want me to give you a 10% discount code to buy it today? Because Trey Lance.
No man. I still believe in him.
You still believe, but look, I liked him, but he's cooked. Like at this point, like he's not even the number 2 quarterback. He's the number 3 quarterback right now. Like I know
we've seen crazy things happen.
Actually, you saw all running backs get injured. You've seen 2 of 3 quarterbacks get injured. So it's not unconceivable that even if he is a third quarterback, that he'll get in there and be the starter before the year's out.
Ron making the case for you there. Ron coming out. I didn't expect that. All right, George from the Bay, I appreciate you. We'll see you later, pal.
All right, later.
Jay Farr, you get a little bit more than 10 seconds, but I do got to run, so please keep it as short as you want. Topic is yours. Floor is yours. What's up, guy?
Hey, I just want to add up to where I think D-Hop is going to go. I think he's going to go to the Chicago Bears. They have the most cap space, and also I think it would put them in the driver's seat in that division if they get him.
Hey, bro, I've been preaching this all offseason, but we haven't sniffed a single news piece that's suggesting it. So I look, this is that was my early number 1 landing spot for Hopkins. Hopkins to Chicago for Fields to evolve would be ideal. This would be if I was to dial back everything I said on the show and what I want to happen, but it's not in the cards, it seems, it would be Chicago, 100%. That doesn't affect any DJ Moore shares I have because I like DJ Moore, but I don't really own him. I don't think he's that great. I think he's really good to great for the offense, for Fields. He could be 1,100 yards, 7-touchdown guy, 6-touchdown guy. I don't find myself drafting a lot of them, but I still really like him. He's going to open up the offense. He's going to help Fields become a monster. Fields does a lot on the ground. He's going to throw a lot to commit. This is not a 5,000-yard passer in Fields, so it's not like DJ Moore has to be this elite player, but I would 100% want him in Chicago. I just wish they would talk about it, look at it. They're building from the trenches. They're doing kind of this young build. We got Denny dropping a $20 holler.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Appreciate you, Denny. Denny dropping a $20 holler right on the screen. But yeah, hey, good call, Jay Farr. I hope that comes true, pal. You and me will be rooting for that.
Absolutely. Thanks.
All right, later, Jay Farr. Appreciate you. Denny dropping a 20 spot right in the nick of time. Bella, check yourself. Final thoughts, my man.
Nothing much. I really don't have much to say, Smitty, man. I'm just down day for me. Just tired of the craziness from my team. I tell you, my final thought is, like I said earlier, and if we can't find a way to get this man home to New England world, then we should just lose every game. I'd rather just go into next year knowing that we have some good draft picks, where we can get some good talent, and maybe if we play bad enough, we can get the number 1 pick overall.
You know what I hate to say? You know what I hate to say though is like, would you bring in wide receivers for Caleb to even throw the football to? That would be my concern from a fantasy perspective. If Caleb Williams went to the New England Patriots, and I hate to say this to you because you're my boy, but I would be petrified, Peter. I'd be scared Scott over here because I'd be like, what evidence do we have that they know how to bring in wide receivers? None. You bring in double tight ends, one of them being Jonnu Smith, and just these aren't the tight ends you do that with. You bring in double tight ends instead of wide receivers. You kind of do it again and bring in Gesicki, who I kind of like, but he's still not, okay, let's ignore wide receivers. And I don't think, unlike Scared Scott, who I'm going to go to next, I don't think that that he's a even good wide receiver 3 because he's past his, expiration date. But hey, Bella, check yourself. Yeah. For your sake, maybe you bring in a wide receiver or 2, and it works out. Maybe Mac Jones is the real deal too. I don't think he is, but I think Zappy starts a handful of games this year. Appreciate you, Bella. Check yourself. We'll see you later.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Let's go to Scared Scott. Final thoughts, Scared. Scaredy cat. Scotty? You're muted, Scotty. Don't be afraid. Speak up.
I'm sorry. I had
That's
you on
right.
mute. I don't know where to draft this guy. He never missed a game in college.
Who are we talking about? Who are we talking about?
In his senior season, he ran for over 2,000 yards in the Big Ten. Now, as a pro, he's carried the ball 226 times and has rushed for over 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns. And I don't know where to draft J.K. Dobbins.
Safely in late round 5, top of round 6 is ideal. You got to package in that injury risk. Do not go taking him in round 4. Scared Scott trying to make a statement.
He missed a game in college. He blew his knee. He's no injury risk.
He was a big injury risk before the ACL tear. He's considered one of those guys. Will he stay healthy?
He never missed a game in college. 14 games, 4 seasons.
How big is he? How big is JK?
What's that?
How big is he? What's his stature? J.K. Dobbins. Height, weight. He's
5'10", 214.
It's not bad. We'll see, Scared Scott. I like him. I told you I haven't been this excited about him since his rookie year. And holding out is not a good look. But we'll see how long that lasts. Russian Collusion dropping a 20. Scott, appreciate you. We'll see you later, Scared Scott. J.K. Dobbins is his favorite player ever. Later. We got a $20 hauler from Rush.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Russian Collusion says, Smitty, what is Gallup's cost and can he be cut for Hopkins? What happens to all my Gallup rivals on Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty? I got all these Gallup versus, what was it? Gallup versus, who was it? It was Gallup versus, was it St. Brown? Who was it? There's this rival that's unbelievable on Underdog Fantasy. Do you guys remember what it was? Gallup versus who? Does anybody know? It was Gallup versus, I'm trying to find it right
Brown was going to Friarmouth, remember?
Yeah. St. Brown against Friarmouth on Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Smitty. That's a smash for receiving TDs, in my opinion. Where's this Gallup one? I thought I had it on my screen. I don't, but it was something crazy. But yeah, I don't know what Gallup's contract is. I can look at it real quick. Let me pull it up real quick. It's a good question. I don't know if that frees up much money though. Gallup.
5 years, $57.5 million in 2021.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, what's his dead cap? Let me see. I'm pulling it up too. I don't know. Gallup. It's not loading for me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's gonna do too much, but yeah, I mean, bringing Hopkins into any one of these situations where you can support a quarterback that you need to potentially take that step. Okay, so his dead cap, Michael Gallup's dead cap in 2023 is 19 mil. That's kind of a lot. His projected potential out is until 2024, when his dead cap would be 13 mil, which is more manageable. So 19 mil, he's probably not going anywhere. So to answer your question, I don't think that is a solution. But it's a good question, Russian, and I appreciate your $20 hauler, my man. And Denny, appreciate your $20 hauler.
And he already restructured his deal to free up $7 million.
Yeah, so he's not going anywhere. Appreciate you. Okay, Patrick, since you're on the phone here, final thoughts.
All right, just some quick rapid points. As far as a couple callers ago, the Lance thing, I'm not sold on Brock Purdy at all. I think now defenses have film on him, and I just don't think he's the answer. Plus, I just don't see it. So I definitely think this is, I don't know about 8 games because we might believe in Lance, but Shanahan sure as hell don't. As far as the Patriots, they're out of the running for Hopkins for sure. With Kendrick Bourne is getting $6 million this year. Juju is $8 or $9 million. They like the Tyquan Thornton kid. They have second-round draft capital in him. And now the DeVante Parker madness, there's just no way. And as far as Dalvin Cook, no, that's not going to be the alternative. They have fourth-round capital in Pierre Strong. Ramondre Stevenson is a beast. And for some reason, they're really high on Ty Montgomery's grandpa ass. Excuse me, sorry. Won't have it again. You hit the going on to Hopkins just a little bit more. You hit the nail on the head as far as Cleveland doing everything they can to not look like complete fools. As far as Deshaun Watson and everything they can for him, it puts him in a good spot. With D-Hop coming into the fold, it makes Cooper expendable after this season. It makes DBJ expendable after this season. And we have some rookies coming up, some young guys coming up, and David Bell and Cedric Tillman. Good size, good speed, good measurables, good everything. Last point, Ron Navy, I hear you taking shots about Cleveland being the laughing stock of the league. Well, are we the laughing stock of the league when we knocked y'all out of the playoffs?
True. You guys have always been the laughing stock. No Super Bowls, laughing stock with all your stupid
I hear you.
Done.
I hear you. But no, that's all I got. I see D-Hop coming. I think Tennessee is definitely in second place. I really like the Bears take. But like you said, we have nothing to go on.
Yeah, it's my favorite. It's my favorite landing spot. It always has been. As soon as D Hopkins, if you remember back to all my D Hopkins trade videos, we did one a week for like a month. But all my videos about trading was Chicago should trade for D Hop. Chicago should make a trade for D-Hop. Even before they got DJ Moore, it was all about D-Hop going to Chicago. So that is exactly what I want to happen and have wanted to happen ever since the moment there was whispers that he could be traded, not cut. And we haven't heard anything. I don't think they want to spend money on older players as they're building from the trenches and surrounding this team full of guys they think are going to be there for a while. So I don't think it happens. There's no legs to it, but you never know. Maybe they kickstart. Maybe the market drops so low. You have a team like the Bears sitting in a boardroom and they go, did you guys expect this to happen, John? What's the last offer we got from word from on his contract? Can we afford that? Can we afford that? Hey, Steve, get into the numbers over there. See if we can extend a third wide receiver like New England did and free up $4 million. And then all of a sudden you got Chicago, making moves that they didn't think were on the table. Like that could happen. That's a scenario I can envision playing out. They're in a boardroom. They didn't realize this market was so low. They didn't even try. And now they're like, let's make it work. Or there's an injury we don't hear about. Mooney's like suffering with something and, we don't hear about it till later. Or, a suspension. Maybe Mooney's playing Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. And they're getting a little word that something's coming down. And they're like, let's get Hopkins in here. Hey, Mooney, code Smitty, use it. Anyway, I'll see you later. Appreciate you dialing in and being here. Patrick, we'll see you later, pal.
All right, Smitty, thanks.
You could tell that Patrick is a Cleveland Brown fan. It's so funny, and I love that you guys are you've got your fandom takes, your like Ron's all Steeler talk. Like if Ron's gonna be very slanted Pittsburgh, he's very slanted Cleveland, and it's good to have those personalities in here because I think it was Travis said that this caller sounds so confident but doesn't know what he doesn't know. It's funny because everybody thinks they know, and I think I know. Like that's part of my show. It's an opinion show, So I'm going to say I think I know something, and then 75% of the time, if I'm lucky, it works out, And I'm going to miss on probably 25% of everything I predict, and that would make me the most accurate you could find on the planet. If I missed just 25% of everything that comes out of my mouth. That's part of this show, navigating the unknowns. And I think it was one of the most famous quotes saying is that there is no real debate in life. There's no debating. Debating is almost useless, and I love it, but a useless expression because you either have an opinion and you should be afforded that opinion. I mean, I love debating though. I'm not applying this to my logic, but it's either you have an opinion because nothing's proven yet and there's arguments to be made, or there's factual, outcomes and things like that. So it is funny. We do all get caught up in that our opinions are fact-based or this is the way it's going to go. I do it too. Sometimes it makes the show fun. And, that's part of why I do what I do, because it's fun to take your stance and go hardcore at it. But it is kind of funny. And you sometimes do got to step back and say, none of us know how this is going to play out. None of us saw Tom Brady coming. None of us saw, this going that direction. None of us saw Aaron Hernandez in a white t-shirt with his hands cupped behind his back getting walked out of his house. So many things are going to happen that we are not going to see coming. And that's what makes this game so extremely fun. Living Legend, final thoughts. 10 seconds. I got to run.
Hey, Smitty, yeah. I did a couple of mock drafts. And I had this one lineup where I went with Hurts, but I had Bijan. And what you think about ETN? You saying Gibbs over ETN?
I am, but I could understand you not doing that. But I'm going to take Gibbs. I believe Gibbs is a top 15 overall player as a rookie. I firmly believe that. So, but I'm not taking him there. I'm stealing him away as late as I can. And if I've got to take him top of 3, because I know the guy bottom of 3 or mid 3rd, I'll take him there if I have to. But I have to have a good reason, because he literally can't fall to 4.5, 4.1 to 4.5. He'll go. He's going to climb into the top of 3, though. I almost guarantee you, it's going to take one play, one scrimmage breakaway run. One comment by the coach. The coach says he's going to catch 80 passes. You know what's going to happen to his value? He's going to go from 4.1, let's call it, to literally 3.1 off of one comment that has nothing to do with play on the field. If the coach came out and said, or offensive coordinator, or ball boy, or the head Ticketmaster agent in Detroit said, this guy's catching 80 passes straight to the top.
To the moon.
We are a fickle people.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, and I had picked up. I don't know if you like this. I had picked up Swift and Pacheco, but that was like my 5-6 swing. But I don't know if that was like overkill. But I needed something for like those two flex spots.
No, I love Pacheco. I think you could almost do that 6-7. 5-6. One's a little bit early there, I suppose. But I do love Pacheco. And get ready for a Pacheco video to come. Let me just say that. All right. Hey, appreciate you, Living Legend. Call in later. I don't think I'll be live tonight unless news breaks, but I will definitely be live tomorrow drafting, Friday drafting, Saturday drafting. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm live at 7 p.m. Eastern and also midnight. Both those times every Thursday, Friday, Saturday. This think of Thursday, Friday, Saturday is like double dipping, baby. We're getting a whole bunch done on Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, but I'm always live when news breaks, so you never know if I go live tonight. Maybe Hopkins gets signed by the New England Patriots tonight, and I'm back here laughing, my rear end off. All right, Living Legend, appreciate you, man. Later.
All right, thanks, pal.
All right, Ron, 12 seconds.
12.
Yeah, you get an extra 2.
10, 9. Fantasy-wise, this is only from fantasy. I still think the best place for Hopkins is in Tennessee. He'd be the number 1 receiver. Burks would be the number 2. Burks will learn under Hopkins. And I think he gets more production being the number 1 in Tennessee than anywhere else, fantasy-wise. Now,
possible.
Is it going to do the team any? I don't care about the team. I care about his production and his value. So I would love to see him in Tennessee. I mean, that's where I hope he ends up because I think that's where fantasy-wise we get the most out of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly possible. Everything you said, it's possible. It's not, it doesn't mean that it's where I see him going or whatever, but I mean, sometimes you go somewhere and we saw A.J. Brown survive there. It's possible, but I don't believe in Tannehill. Maybe you believe in Levis. I don't, but if you do, I can understand that. So,
I think Tannehill's good enough to get him the ball. That's all I care about. I don't care if Tannehill's winning them games or if Tannehill's not doing. Tannehill's good enough to get him the ball, and like I said, that's all I care about is, he'll open it up for Henry, definitely. So we'll see a lot of Henry, but yeah, I could see D-Hop having a great fantasy year.
The one thing you got to be careful of, though, is if D. Henry does drop off this year, which is a very strong likelihood, that ability for Tannehill to be able to at least get him the ball, that could go away too. But I get it. Those are all like things we're predicting to happen, and certainly could go 100 different directions. By the way, we just hit 18.9K. We are 98 subscribers away from 19K. And we should steamroll over the next, couple months. It'll start going like crazy. So please subscribe if you're new. I don't actually say that phrase a lot. I say hit the like button. But if you're watching and you haven't yet subscribed, please punch that subscribe button because that is a part of the way the show grows. And the bigger we get, the more shows you get. I promise you, as we've grown, we've gotten better every single, month that we've grown. So it's always going to improve your viewing experience as this show gets bigger. We start getting bigger, sponsorship deals. I start getting not just 3-4 jerseys a year. I get a box full of jerseys that I get to give away. So please subscribe and like and spread the word as best you can. Ron, I'll see you later, pal.
Hey.
Oh, hey, you didn't tell us how everything went. Did you find out any details?
Well, she has to get a PAT scan done, which is like an ultrasound. And then, but it's not considered a nodule anymore. It's considered a mass, so that part of it's not looking good. So if it does end up with the PAT scan, if it does end up, they'll do a biopsy to determine the type of cancer, and then But the good thing is there's no her lymph nodes aren't swollen or anything like that, so it's pretty much contained in the early stages. So
well,
if it is, we don't know for sure yet.
Prayers up for Miss Navy. It still could be something that they're not, right? It still could be something that's like doesn't have to go that direction, right? So there's still that. So prayers up for Miss Navy and good hopes and prayers, and keep us posted, Ron. And if you don't want to share it too, you do whatever you got to do, but let me know.
No, of course I will. I mean, we have this community is so great and so giving and so, we support each other, and that's the great thing about this community. I don't know. I've never seen them before. I feel tonight. Balls is life.
Yeah, Ball's life. He's taking a big time off, I think. Ball's life is back.
Yeah, because I don't recognize his name, and I was asking in there, and Blackbeard said he's an OG moderator, and I'm like,
yeah.
I've never noticed his name before.
I mean, he's probably been off for a year. Yeah, where have you been, Ball's life? Where have you been? All right, Ron.
He might not be, but yeah.
All
right, later.
I'll see you potentially if there's breaking news tonight, but probably tomorrow. I might go on IG tonight for a minute or something like that.
I'll probably
do it.
It's 65% full already.
I'll probably do a Dynasty show maybe tonight, so everybody look for that. Make sure you subscribe to my Dynasty channel. We're still growing it. I need to get to it every day. I promise I will. I know I haven't been super consistent on it. I will get to that point. It's not something that I'm moving on from or something I'm not going to follow through with. It's just a matter of time, and I'm trying to figure it out. But Dynasty link is in the live stream, live chat. Please subscribe to that Dynasty channel. It's a different channel. I'll see you later, Ron. Appreciate you.
Later, Smitty.
Prayers up for Miss Ron Navy, everybody. Drop some prayer emojis. I will see you all tomorrow or tonight on the Dynasty channel. Thank you all to all of you that super chatted. Russian Collusion drop another $5 holler. Smitty, can we send Ron some cash somehow? You'll have to. I'm not sure. Ron, seriously, I know Ron's probably going to say no to this, but we could always start like a GoFundMe for Ron if he ever needed it. So that would be what we would do if Ron ever needed something like that. Appreciate everybody that dropped a super chat. Thank you all. Russian Collusion dropping a 20 spot. Denny dropping a 20 spot here. Denny, appreciate you, Denny. Can't wait to see you in Vegas, pal. Sick Nasty, appreciate you. Hopkins, agent the situation. Again, we're not too sure. Appreciate you, Garrett. Thank you, Terry Roberts, for dropping the phone line number to somebody that needed it. Overcome, appreciate you updating us on your draft. Steven in the building. Steven, appreciate you. Garrett dropping that $199 holler. Steven. And Max kicking it off with the $4.99. Appreciate every single one of you super chatters. You guys rock. You make the show. Go over to thefantasyfootballshow.com. Make sure you get your membership on my content site. Bold predictions, rankings, super flex rankings, super rookie rankings, dynasty rankings, redraft rankings, trade calculators, dynasty trade calculator, redraft trade calculator, video courses, text advice, one-on-one text advice, bold predictions. All of that is over there. And Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty. That link is in the description of every video, or you can use code Smitty. The link inserts code Smitty for you, but we will be drafting every single Thursday, Friday, Saturday night from now until the end of the season, 3 straight days in a row, and we do it on Tuesday night sometimes as well after the Panic Chamber. So do that now. Get signed up. Get your match up to $100 bonus match, dollar for dollar. But more importantly, get signed up before we get into a draft and you're trying to get signed up at the time of jumping in. Do it ahead of time. Use the link in the description, and I'll even drop the link one more time in the live chat. Sign up now so you don't have delays when we're drafting. It's very simple and quick. Click the link. They'll match up to $100 in your first deposit. I'm out of here. Appreciate you. People are getting burrowed left and right, and people are going to remember it.
Get burrowed.